Welcome to the course on global business management. And today we'll be discussing about international distribution networks, right, and channel management. So, what are international distribution networks, or what is a distribution channel, right? So, a channel is what brings you the product or service that you want, right? So, if you are ordering something from KFC or McDonald's, so where does the product come from? So from the point where you place an order, maybe online or maybe over the phone, right, to the point where you obtain your order at hand, right? So the entire journey that particular product has been through, that a box of KFC has been through, right? So all of that refers to a channel, right? So a chain of businesses or intermediaries through which a good or service passes until it reaches the final buyer or the end consumer, right? So that's how we define a distribution channel. And then if we look at how these distribution channels are arranged, right? So they have primarily two types of distribution channels. So we look at direct and indirect channels. And as the name suggests, with respect to a direct channel, we have the producers or the manufacturers, and directly these products are offered to the consumers or the end consumers, right? So where do we see this? Again, if you look at KFC, when you walk into the store or when you order a box of KFC, right? So they either deliver it to you directly through their delivery partners, or you just dine in at the KFC unit, right? So it's a more direct relationship between a manufacturer and a consumer. Whereas in terms of an indirect channel, you have intermediaries, right? You have your um, producers and manufacturers who sell it maybe to a wholesaler or a distributor, who then hands over your products to a retailer, and then you walk into a retail store, or maybe the retailer is has an online presence through which you can obtain your goods and services, right? So uh, it's a longer supply chain with respect to an indirect channel, but in terms of a direct channel, your supply chain is relevantly short, right? And then we look at how the distribution channel is structured on a more domestic and international basis. So if you look at a direct channel, a direct distribution channel, we'd have um, the manufacturer who directly distributes the product or service to the end consumer, right? So how does that happen? So we see that it is facilitated through foreign distributors or retailers or trading companies who then hand over the product or service to the end consumer. But in terms of an indirect channel, we have our domestic agents or merchants who hand over the product or service to a series of intermediate brokers or intermediate handlers, right, who then are responsible for getting a product or service across to different people. Right. And then finally, we have factors determining the marketing channels. So, what influences or what factors influence a specific marketing channel? So, we have the product related factors, which are the very nature of the product, the perishability or the value of a product. For instance, if we look at the dairy industry, and if we look at how the distribution channel is structured for a dairy industry, if we look at the Karnataka Milk Federation or how Nandini manufactures its products, so they work on a cooperative structure basis, right? So where they bring in the raw material, the milk from cooperative societies, from rural areas, and from where they take all of these cans of milk to a district unit, and from the district unit, it is brought to the Karnataka Milk Federation, where it is processed, and the value-added products of milk are then manufactured and distributed to different outlets across the state and country, right? So uh, now, obviously, milk being a perishable product has a shelf life of maybe 2 days, right? So you would want to ensure that the length of your supply chain is significantly shorter, and you would bear this in mind while designing your distribution channel, right? And then you have company related factors like finance or core competency or how much control the firm has over their product, right? For instance, if you consider the arms manufacturing or something that is highly regulated, right? Now, the control does not lie only with the manufacturer, it also lies with governance, right? Where governments get involved in the process, in the approval, in the testing, in the allocation, in the distribution. Everything is very regulated, and the amount of finance or capital that is required to be mobilized is also huge, right? So we see significant differences in how the distribution channels for different products vary, and how the distribution channels vary based on the company related factors. Right. And then next we observe competitive factors as in what is the scenario of competition? Is it a red ocean strategy or is it a blue ocean strategy? Can they penetrate a market given the relevance of competition, right? And then we also view how market-related factors, be it macroeconomic or microeconomic factors, it can be your economic situation, it can be the size of your market, it can be the concentration of your demographic factors, and then it can be the quantity that is being mobilized within that market, right? So are there people who want your product? Are there people who are takers of your service or right? So depending on the nature of the market, you design your marketing channel or your distribution channel, and then you strategize based on how these factors are influencing your product or service. And finally, you have your environmental factors, you have your economic conditions, you have your legal environment, you have the very immediate environment around you, right? How are people going to perceive your product? For instance, you see at a densely populated area, it is obviously not feasible to get larger products, industrial products or industrial goods about very easily, right? So, and the legal framework or the guidelines according to which these products need to be distributed, or how these services are being distributed, right? So certain countries, for instance, if you take into consideration certain countries that are constantly under conflict over border disputes, over land, and any form of disputes or internal issues, right? If you look at the states of the Middle Eastern region and the states of Africa, it is obviously not very conducive. It is not very conducive to do businesses in such environments, and you would obviously have to redesign your channel. You would have to redesign your networks based on the given environmental characteristics.